So, good morning, Romania. It is very nice to see you all. My name is Kasia Świeczkowska, and today I represent International Alliance of Academies of Childhood Disability. And I'm really happy that you are a part of the Global Professional Education Listening and Sharing session 2023. We are celebrating the International Day of People with Disabilities. And the session is organized for the third time. And this year, the topic is, what do adults with disability tell us about their childhood? I am really happy that you joined us, and I'm really curious what Romanian adults with disabilities can tell us about their childhood. So I wish you a very, very good and interesting session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kasia. And it's the second time when Romania is organizing this session on listening and sharing. And I'm really pleased that today we will have stories, patient stories from very positive patient stories of people with rare disease and disabilities. They succeeded to face the challenges, to overcome them, and to create their own life. They have their own families, they have their jobs, they have people that they are leading, and this is not all. They are also working for the others and helping the others which are in the same situation like them. So I'm very pleased to be here today with you, and I will give the floor to Ramona that will moderate and will navigate the patient stories today. So thank you all for being today with us, and thank you mainly to the people that decided to share their stories today. Thank you again.
Thank you, Dorica. I want to say hello to everyone. I'm glad to be here with you. And as Dorica told you, we are here to mark Disability Day, and we will do it through the life stories of people with disabilities. For this reason, we invited Andrea Sabo, Petrule Lucia, Acaline Arabella, and Veres Robert to join us and tell us their story. Each of them will tell us what it means to live with a disability and what childhood was for them and what was their biggest challenges. The first person who will share her story with us, it will be Andrea Sabo. So, Andrea, do you want me to share your presentation?
Yes, please. Good morning to you all.
Just a second. Can you see?
Yes.
Of course. Just tell me the next slide, okay?
Okay. My name is Andrea. I'm 40 years old. I suffer from Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease. I was born in south of Romania in a small town called Alexandria. My childhood was a happy one until around the age of 3, when the first symptoms of my disease appeared. As a child, I had very little understanding of what was happening to me. But I saw my parents suffering and constantly looking for a diagnosis for my health problems. At that time, I frequently went to medical checkups. I had many tests and investigation. I would often see my mother crying when leaving the doctor's office and ask her why she was sad. And she always told me and assured me that everything would be fine. About a year after the onset of my disease, my illness, I was diagnosed with CMT after a muscular biopsy. The doctors were surprised that the disease developed at such a young age. My parents were devastated to learn about the diagnosis. They went through denial, hope, and eventually, I think, came to terms with the new situation. I remember that I got tired very quickly and asked my parents to carry me in their arms. I had balance problems. I felt very often. I was ashamed because I had a very strange gait, and I constantly felt that others were staring at me and mocking me. Of course, it wasn't like that, but this is how my naive childhood mind worked at that time. I walked with my head bowed, looking down, and my mother always told me that I was to look up at people and not be ashamed of my disability. The disease was slowly progressing, advancing, and I was aware to be physically different. I could run, I could not run. I had difficulty climbing stairs. At playgrounds, I had a hard time keeping up with my playmates. But I quickly forgot that I was sick and started over in my attempt to be seen like a normal child. Despite constant medical rehabilitation, I had my first surgery in my legs at the age of 6, I think. It was a traumatic time for me, recovering from this surgery because it was extremely painful. I had no to wear. I had to wear casts on my boots, casts, jibs, I think, casts on my both legs. It was very uncomfortable for a 6 years old. Around the age of 7, the symptoms also started to appear in my hands. My right leg became very deformed, and I had to have another surgery in Italy. These operations were successful and gave me the possibility to walk better. I think the next slide. At the age of 8, I went to school. Integration into school was rather difficult. I was a shy and withdrawn child. I didn't go out for breaks with my classmates because I was afraid of falling. I already couldn't climb the stairs alone. At the time, Romania had no school inclusion policy. Teacher didn't know how to approach a child with disabilities, and we were left to integrate without receiving any support. I had no difficulties with my peers because they behave naturally. I didn't experience any bullying incidents. By the time I reached high school, the disease had progressed quite a lot, and I could no longer go to school alone. My mother took me and picked me up every day. At school, it was very difficult for me to get up from my chair. I couldn't write on the blackboard. It was difficult for me to write after dictation. Okay, the adolescence, no, I think, was difficult too. Emotionally, I was a happy and optimistic teenager, but with strangers, I was withdrawn because of my disability. I tried to hide my deficiency. I wore baggy pants so my legs couldn't be seen. I didn't show my hands much. I kept them in my pockets. Many of my colleagues already had boyfriends, and I often ask myself questions about the future. Will I have my family? Will I be a parent? My state of health was declining. I could walk only very short distances with human assistance. I got tired very quickly. My hands were impaired. I had difficulty writing. During my teenage years, I didn't go much had medical checkups because I knew the disease had no cure. I think the biggest trouble then was that I couldn't find shoes. This is my child. I didn't find shoes for my deformed feet. I needed special boots to brace my ankles, and there weren't many available on the market. The orthopedic shoes company were not able to make a product that would fit me. I always had the ulceration and injuries on my feet. After high school, I applied to the College of or Faculty of Public Administration in Bucharest, which I attended remotely because it was very difficult for me to go to college every day. When I went to take my exams, my parents carried me up the stairs in their arms because at the time the buildings were not accessible. After graduating from college, I tried many times to get a job, but I couldn't because there were very few companies hiring people with disabilities, and the jobs were not adjusted to my needs. Later, I settled with my family 6 years in Spain. There I followed numerous courses in the field of web design and graphic design. As the years passed, I became psychologically stronger. I socialized more easily. The shy child in my head withdrawn, but physically the illness took over my body more and more. I think at 28, I sat for the first time in a wheelchair. It was hard to accept it, but the wheelchair gave me the freedom to movement. 50 years ago, I met my husband, and my dream of starting a family came true with the birth of my boy. The pregnancy was difficult for me because I knew that there was a very high risk that my son would inherit my disease and that I might be not able to carry the pregnancy to term. Thanks to the caring of the doctors and with God's help, everything went well and I delivered a healthy boy. What was changed over the years? During my childhood and teenage years, I didn't know much about my illness. The information wasn't available and the genetics wasn't that advanced. Now I have been genetically tested in Romania and I know exactly what type of CNT I have. I think the next slide. Okay. 5 years ago, along with 5 other people, we founded CMT, a Romanian association, in order to provide access to information to other people suffering from our diseases, for our disease. During these years, we established a network of doctors who treat people with CMT. We have translated many materials for patients. We offer psychological support to our members, training courses in various domains. We have created a community for people helping each other. I think next. All these things come very natural to any human being. But imagine that for people with severe disabilities like myself, these facts are often impossible due to many barriers and misconceptions in our society. I hope that for every one of us, there is a chance to be fulfilled from a family and professional point of view. My journey to life has been difficult, but all the difficulties I've faced had made me a stronger, a better person. Everything have achieved in life, I have done with the unconditional support of my family. I think that's all.
Thank you very much, Andrea. It was very nice to hear your story, even that I already know it. I have a question for you, if can I address it to you. What were the biggest challenges you faced, and what were the resources you used to overcome it?
I think when I was a teenager, the biggest challenge was to cope with the way others look at me. The others look at me with curiosity, sometimes with pity or rejection. I think all these things are difficult for a teenager to handle. I had the opportunity many times to go out with the others, but I refused because I was ashamed. Because of that, I didn't have many friends when I was a teenager, and now these things doesn't affect me anymore. The way society looks at me now affects me in my physical, that I'm physically dependent on somebody else to the fact that someone has to constantly help me. The feeling of helplessness is overwhelming sometimes. And I managed to overcome this with the support of my family, and I think with my own will.
Thank you very much, Andrea. The next person who will share her story is Lucia Petrule. Lucia, do you want me to share the screen for your presentation, or you can do it yourself?
I can share myself.
Okay.
So I guess you can see my screen. Let me know if you can also see the slideshow.
Yes, we can see it. It's okay.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Lucia Petrule, and the question that I was asked was how my disability influenced my life. But before that, I want to share some things about me. I'm Lucia Petrule. I'm a software architect and technical project lead. I was born in Zalău in a cold fall day, 11/10/1990. And also I was born with congenital skeletal dysplasia. Shortly, I had dyschondroplasia spondyloepiphyseal. And now currently, for example, I only measure 1 meter and a smile. That's the way I like to tell it. The presentation will cover my story from two perspectives, like the medical history and how this disease influenced my life and how I was as a child, as an infant, and so on. So as a medical history, as mentioned, when I was born in 11/10 from an average height family, I was too small, and I was only measuring 38 centimeters, 2.5 kilograms. And due to that, I was moved directly to the NICU. And also, I didn't have like a very good prognostic of my current physician, and they started to tube feeding me. 2 weeks after, they discharged me, but I had some difficulties in accepting the food due to the tube feeding that I experienced previously. And also, I didn't have like a clear diagnosis. I had like a list of potential diagnoses like spina bifida, morchio, achondroplasia. Between October and March, like in 2 years, I had a lot of investigation and X-rays. New clear diagnostic was added to my diagnostic list, like hip dysplasia. And due to that, the physicians decided to put me for 6 weeks in a cast, trying to correct it. Unfortunately, the treatment wasn't successful. And that means that after 3 months, they decided to repeat it, and I was put in another 6 months in a cast. And this period, I know from my parents, that was a bit difficult because as a baby of 9 months, I was about to start walking. So I had a delay in walking of 6 months. Also, I started the treatment with growth hormones, but they didn't have success. They couldn't work on my disease. And now, how did my disability influence my infance from like personal perspective? Well, I can say that I was a very happy baby girl with 2 loving parents that support me in everything I wanted to do. A big sister that always knew to be there for me. 4 great grandparents that also were always for me and caring about me. A very big, loving and supporting family. And how I like to say is I had a lot of vacations to new cities and new friends, even if they were like hospital, physician, or other patients. Moving forward, I will tell you about my childhood, also going with the medical history. As mentioned before, I still didn't have the clear diagnostic, but in the childhood, they started to roll out some of them like morchio, spina bifida. And I think at the age of 5 and maybe 6 years old, I was diagnosed with dyschondroplasia, and she became more present in my life. Again, I went through a lot of X-rays, remnants, and CTs. I understood there is no cure for my disease, only maybe potential intervention that could help, but nothing that will heal me completely. I also had a genetic test, but only indirectly it confirms that I have dyschondroplasia because I don't have achondroplasia. Also, I was scheduled for an intervention to do feet elongation, but due to the fact that I was a small child, the device was too big for me, so no intervention was performed. Okay, and moving forward on what I did in my childhood, basically I followed the normal steps. I went to the kindergarten, to school. Honestly, I didn't feel that different. I was also always had similar chores as my older sister. I also understood that I can be more independent, at least in house. I focus mainly on school and making friends. I started to define my hobbies like reading, traveling, photography. And also I graduated as first of my school. In the meantime, yes, I still kept visiting hospital and physician. I went to regular kinetotherapy and physiotherapy. I became more mature, but in the end, I can say that I was happy. Moving forward, in terms of adolescence, I continue with investigation. I was scheduled again for an intervention, but the intervention was initially scheduled during the college admission, and again, I had the same issue with the device not fitting my size. So the doctors, after another set of investigation, decided that maybe it's good to keep my body as it is because there is a balance created by itself, and maybe an intervention could break that balance. So I continue with physiotherapies, kinetotherapies, and also I started to accept myself and to slow down in trying to maybe increase my height. In terms of adolescence, how did my disability influence my life? Well, I will say that not that much. I was more or less a normal teenager. The only difference is that outside I am, and also this is happening currently, I am depending of somebody to go with me, mainly to carry out things for me, and also to make sure that I'm noticed on the street. But other than that, I didn't feel that different. I continue with my focus on the learning process. I went to a normal high school. I finished it with a perfect 10 and top of my high school. And also I received lots of rewards from different Olympics competition. Which is the most important, I made friends, and those friends are good friends because they are still part of my life. As an adult, well, I continue my regular checkups on my health, continue with the kinetotherapy and physiotherapy, and also I got more confident with myself. And how disability influenced my life? Is there like a broken piece? I will say that not, that even if I had some impediments, I always could do everything I wanted. So currently I have a job, I have a car, I have my license, driving license. Yeah, if I'm thinking about it, maybe if I was not having this kind of problem, I would have been choosing a slightly different career, maybe in medicine. But what I like with computer science is that I can also work in that field as well. But from the other side, like making software for different medical fields. In terms of feelings, I didn't had like bad experiences. I had very good friends, and I'm having very good friends. I'm having a loving family, and I also pursued my dreams, and also I kept traveling yearly. In terms of university degree, this was a challenge. When I started the university, I moved out to Cluj-Napoca alone with only a very good friend. I stayed at the student dorm. I became more independent, and also I graduated in the first 20 people. Also, during the next period, I started 2 master degrees, and in parallel, I start working as a junior developer. And currently, in terms of professional life, I can say that I never felt discriminated. I grew step by step from junior to mid to lead to engineering manager to software architect. Currently, I'm working in the information technology in the automotive field as a software architect and project lead. I'm having a team of 60 people. And what I can say now as an answer to the question, how my disability influenced my life, is that it wasn't that much. And I'm very proud to be now in a position where I can influence others' life, like being a mentor, guiding them, and also leading them. Thank you, and let me know if there are any questions.
Thank you very much, Lucia. It was a very positive example from you, and it gives me a good vibe listening your presentation. Thank you very much. The next person who will share her story is Arabella Kalinai.
Hi, can I share my screen?
Yes, you can.
Okay, how to do that? Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, trying to get, okay. So hi everyone, my name is Arabella Kalinai. I'm from Baia Mare, Romania. I am 40 years old. I am a patient with Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease as Andrea. I was diagnosed at age 6. Although I have 14 more people in my family with this disease, my mom and my 2 sons included. I'm again mother of 2 boys with CMT. They inherited my disease. I'm diagnosed with CMT1A, which is usually transmitted in, or at least in our family, we are already 3 generations with it. My oldest son also has epilepsy. I am a Romanian English teacher and an adults trainer. I am career guidance professional for people with disabilities. And I'm a president of 2 organizations, a Romanian and a European one. Just a little bit about CMT for you to better understand this condition that we are battling with. It is a genetic, slowly progressive condition that damages peripheral nerves. In Europe, around 300 100,000 people are thought to have CMT. Most of them actually, CMT is considered the most common inherited neurological condition. Among the symptoms, we can speak about weakness in feet and ankles, muscle atrophies, frequent tripping and steppage gait, joint problems, ankle and knee sprains, and sometimes even fractures. At hands level, people with CMT may have muscle atrophies, tendon constraints, tremors, and unfortunately, a lot of manual dexterity issues. Some experience burning sensations in their feet and hands, pain, and very, very frequently poor blood flow. Yeah, we face a lot of fatigue, usually on a daily basis. Some of us experience sleep apnea, breathing difficulties. Scoliosis is something that usually comes together with the problems when you have an imbalanced walking. And some patients also have sight and hearing weakening. This is how CMT actually looks like. And again, it is a disease that usually shows signs even in childhood, starting with childhood, sometimes even early childhood. You can already see some tendon constraints, some foot deformities, balance problems, and a lot. My story, again, I inherited my condition from my mother. And as I was mentioning, I have 14 other people in my family with the same condition. In 1999 and 2000, I did not know much about my disease. So I started searching online. I was in high school back then, and I started searching information, and I came across the American and the Canadian organization, which I contacted, and they sent me a lot of information. The Canadians even wrote an article in their newsletter about my case. And basically, this was the moment when the knowledge that I received about my disease and the understanding of my condition empowered me as a person. Well, unfortunately, I'm not as positive as as the speakers before me, in the sense that I really felt this disease as a real burden in my childhood. I don't know, I just felt so different from my friends, so weak and with so much low self-esteem. I remember I really hated going to school because I know Andrea mentioned it. People on the street were always staring at me, or at least this is what I felt. I remember every time I went to school, there was at least one or two persons who was staring at me, and I don't know, either it was due to maybe to and this is actually, I think, sorry, I mixed up a little bit about the slides. Yeah, so it was just a 15 minutes walk, but people were staring at me, and this made me feel so ashamed. I don't know if it was out of curiosity, or sometimes it was the pity in their eyes that I could feel. So I remember that all my childhood was marked by this feeling of being ashamed of how I was walking. On the other hand, I remember I tripped a lot. I could not run. I had a lot of physical limitations. I was clumsy and slow in all my actions. For example, I never finished my test papers in time. And this led to a lot of frustration, not being able to cope and not be able to keep the pace with the rest of my classmates and friends. Pain was, again, not a stranger to me. Unfortunately, I remember because of the tripping and falling, I always had my knees injured and my elbows. And I experienced also a lot of pain in my back, in my spine, because of the imbalanced walking and scoliosis that CMT caused. Sometimes I remember having cramps in my feet and pain in my ankles. Feet deformities were visible quite early, I mean, from a very early age. I think the tendon constraints already were present at age 4 or 5, so the signs were there already. I already had, in my adolescence, I already had calluses on my feet, and these were very painful again. And as Andrea was mentioning, I had the same problem. I could not find good shoes, good something to wear. And I remember it was when I was going to buy a new pair of shoes, it was like going to a museum, because I was just looking at them and I knew most of them I could not wear because there were so, you know, I used to dream of wearing those very nice little shoes that girls my age used to wear, but I could not. And the orthopedic shoes were not always a success, except, of course, they are not very, very nice, also very nice looking. So, yeah. I could feel it was a little bit of a burden, also the going to the doctors on a regular basis and doing physical therapy. Yes, this was a must. In our condition, in CMT, it is something that you need to do almost on a daily basis. So I remember that instead of playing with my friends after school, I had to go to physical rehabilitation, and even some exercises were painful to do it. So I was coming home and I was so tired. I did not have any energy to play with my friends anymore. And I really hated going to physical rehabilitation at one point, you know. Sometimes you feel as a child that it's too much and you just want to take a break from it. But I cannot say that everything was negative in my childhood. Yes, I was ashamed of the way I was walking. I was feeling very different from other people, but I also had a lot of support. The fact that my family understood what I was going through because they had the same problem. My parents were very understanding. And because I was always very sociable and I was very open to people, I could easily make a lot of friends. So this wasn't a problem for me. On the other hand, I had a lot of help when it came to educational support. Teachers, the teachers were very understanding. My parents just explained to them what I was facing with, and they were very open and very understanding. I remember sometimes they give me extra time in tests and different activities, or sometimes they gave me less homework to do, things like this. So they were willing to adapt to my situation, and this was amazing. Yes, again, this was part of my teenage age when I was still in high school when I contacted CMT America and CMT USA, CMT Canada and CMT USA. And they supported me so much through sharing this information about my disease with me. And also there I could find for the first time a community of people with CMT, which was also a great support. I'm still in contact with them on Facebook groups and so on. And being part of a community with other people that have the same problem really helped me. There were a lot, I remember reading about a lot of stories about adolescents coping with their disease, and this encouraged me a lot. And of course, the support of the medical professionals was also important, because among them, I really found some very dedicated ones. some very good psychotherapists. Although I didn't enjoy physical rehabilitation, but I knew they were very dedicated, and I knew that everything was actually for my benefit. So I endured it after all. And yes, I also had some surgeries when I was young, which helped me. For 20 years, I was able to walk better because of these surgeries that I did. And the support that I got inspired me to help others, because I start thinking of the fact that I felt so empowered when I received all this information about my condition, when I finally understood what I was dealing with and what I was going to expect from this disease, when I had some practical advices and I knew what to do to try to slow down a little bit the progression. So from my perspective, it was something that I needed to share with other people affected with the same condition. And today I'm sharing it with adults, but not only with adults. I also come across a lot of parents whose children are diagnosed with CMT. And sometimes this is something new for them. Maybe they didn't have CMT in their family before. So it's so important for me to try to encourage them and to explain to them how they can support their children and what to do for them. And again, I have my own kids, so I better understand them, because I went through all this process when I was young. I experienced it myself. In my local community and at national level, I try to represent parents of children with CMT in their engagements with schools, doctors, local authorities, because I know so much more about CMT, and I can engage and explain to them what CMT is all about and how the burden, how it affects the families and the patients. I fight for awareness in my country, because I think this is very, very important, that more and more people understand and know about CMT. I try to get more expertise in Romania among the specialists. Just a couple of months ago, I organized an international NMD conference, and we brought a very good speaker from UK to speak about CMT. So I think this is also very important, not only the medical professionals, but also the lay public to start understanding what CMT is about and what these patients, what kind of support these patients need. And yeah, so coming back to me, in 2018, I came in contact with the European CMT Federation. In 2019, I started my, together with two other founding members, I built up my NeuroMove CMT Association in Romania, and we are trying to help patients with CMT and other neuromuscular conditions. In 2020, I became board member of ECMTF and their Eastern Europe ambassador. In 2021, I became president of the AMDA, which is the European Alliance of Neuromuscular Disorders Association. So basically, I try to engage as much as possible and create a difference at national and European level. I'm on EPAG in Euro NMDERN. I am a member of Europe's HTA task force. And I did my best, and here I must admit, I think my inspiration actually came from Dorica. And I remember the first time when my first workshop that I attended in this field was actually one that was held at Neurocenter, and it was about the reference network. So I kind of fell in love with this work, and I better understood it later on. So that was also my inspiration to get engaged with different trainings and try to learn as much as possible. So yeah, I'm also a UPATI fellow now. I did a lot of EuroDis trainings, 3 NMD translational school. So doing my best to learn as much as possible. And I really consider that children living with CMT and other rare diseases deserve all the support they can get. They deserve happiness and a brighter future. And I would like to end up with, actually, this image is me and my two boys. We are all three of us, we have CMT, so we have a rare condition. I'm very proud of them, and I'm very, very grateful that I can support them because I understand what they are going through. And basically, everything that I'm doing, I also do for them, for my kids, and for any other kids, any other children affected with similar condition. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Arabella. So far we have listened to three very interesting stories of strong women living with disabilities. So I think it will be very interesting to hear the story of Robert, who is a patient suffering from Werning-Hoffman syndrome. Robert? Bobby.
Thank you very much.
As we said.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ramona. And if you help me with the slides to start it, thank you.
Just a second. Can you see it? It's okay?
Yes, I can see. Thank you very much. So, hi to everyone. My name is Robert Veres. I'm from Carré, but my friends know me as Bobby. I'm suffer from spinal muscular atrophy type 2, which is also known as Werning-Hoffman syndrome. My childhood started at normally. I was a normal kid till the age of 7 months when my parents saw that something is wrong. My legs couldn't move very well, so they bring me to different doctors to check it up to see what is the problem. Of course, in that period, the doctor said that I suffer from different kind of diseases. I had many diagnoses, but my mom started to go with me to rehab centers to start to make treatments. Next slide. Yes. After various investigations and lots of different treatments, at the age of 4, I was finally diagnosed with this rare disease called spinal muscular atrophy. Till that moment in my life, I cannot remember too much, but I do remember that my mom always said to me that we continually was interned at rehabilitation hospitals, even being gone from home for 3 months. Came back for 1 month and gone again to hospital for another 3 months. And till the age of 4, we did that every year. Okay, next slide. So yeah, in my childhood, and even after I become older, I went to rehab centers very often, so often that can I say that hospital become my second home. One of my most traumatic memory from this period is when I did the biopsy at Vulcele at the age of 3.5, 4 age, something like that. And I do remember even now that it was very painful because I needed to do the biopsy without any anesthetic or something like that. And I do remember the room from that hospital and everything. It was very scary, and still remember that it was very traumatic. Also, I do remember the first days when I went to Desna. It's another hospital for people who have a disability to make rehab. And I do remember the first days. I was only 7 years old. And I remember that the treatments were painful and it hurts. But I try not to cry because at that age, I was like hoping to get well and to become a very well-known football star. But being in these rehab centers, it was also a very good thing because I made a lot of friends. And till the age of 7, it was, like I said, my second home. And I had many friends there, just like I met Dorica and Juana. That was where we became friends. And I do have many good memories from that period, but how can I say? It was very difficult at the beginning because you're a child and you are in a hospital, so it was hard to get used to it. Okay, next slide, please. And yes, this is, I think, the biggest moment in my childhood which changed my life. It's when at 5 years old, my mom come and said to me, she had a very big news that I'm gonna have a sister. And I was very happy because till then, like I said, I have friends, but I mostly had it only in the hospitals. And I was so happy that I remember that my sister was born in April, but before that, the Christmas before that, I wish from Santa, I told my parents that write a letter to Santa that I want a doll to my sister to have to play with it when she will born. And I was very happy to find out that I will have a sister. And this was a moment which changed my life, I think, drastically in a very good way. These are 2 photos. In the first one, I think I made a mistake. There I am, only 5 years old, and Doris, my sister, she's a few months only. And the second photo is when we were kids. We have the same strange pajamas. I don't know why, but my mom loved them and bought us that. I didn't like those pajamas, but this is a very nice photo. Okay, next slide. So yeah, here are a few photos of me and my sister. She, like I said, she changed my life. She helped me to forget about my health problems, and actually she gave me a childhood. We start to play together. I start to play with her friends, which became my friends too. And we do a lot of things. Okay, just like kids, we were sometimes do bad things, but finally I had a nice childhood. And the most important thing was that I am a big brother now, and I changed my perspective, and I always wanted to do best and to show my sister that she can rely on me, and I'm always there for her. So that made me to feel much more responsible about my life and also to think different. Next slide. Yes, my education, how can I tell? It was very good. I didn't have any problems in school. Maybe I had problems in kindergarten, where I only went a couple of weeks because the teacher from kindergarten didn't know how to put me with the other kids, and I always lost my toys, have everything, because the other kids take it away, and the teacher didn't help me to get them back. So that was the only moment when my mom decided to took me out and didn't bring me to kindergarten. But after that, in school, everything was perfect. I have very good teachers, and I never had problems with the integration of me with the other kids. although I started school in 92, when in Romania we didn't have anything, or the teachers didn't know anything about how to integrate a kid with disability or how to do it. But I think they were very professional being teachers, and they adapted and always being there for me. Also, to have this kind of opportunity to have no problems in school, it was because I always managed to get well with my colleagues, even if the kids, when we were in fourth grade or something like that, they put a lot of questions to me. Why don't you can't go outside to play football with us, or why don't you can rise up from that wheelchair, or what does it mean to have a wheelchair? I always was open, and I always tried to answer all of their questions. Of course, when I went to high school, it was a different thing, because there it's about you to integrate, because every kid in high school want to be the star, so you have to manage somehow. But I manage very well, and I have a lot of memory from those periods, and I really enjoyed to go to school and to high school. Also, I finished university, but that was another thing. I couldn't go to all the classes, because one big problem, which still is the accessibility of the public the accessibility, and I couldn't go to university only to every day, so I needed to learn from home. But when I finish university, I finish accountancy. I managed to get a job. I also managed to do my association, Werning Hoffman Association, for helping other people with disability. Okay, next slide. Yes, one important thing in my childhood and not only, is family, because I am who I am because of them. Here are some photos with my parents when I was younger. And next slide. Yeah, here are other photos with my grandmother, with my sister, father, and what can I say? My mother always was there for me to help me, and I think I become who I become because of her. I inherited from her my ambition and to never give up, and she taught me how to dream, how to live my life, even if I have a wheelchair. Try to dream big and never give up. From my father, what can I say? I think I inherited to be a little bit diplomatic and patience, and to have time to think it over. My sister, well, like I said, she gave me my childhood, and also all the friends that I met after that, and I really love her very much. A few years ago, in my life come Theo and Andrea, because my mom get remarried, and I can say that Theo is like another father of me. I never made me to feel like I'm not his son. He always tried to be a good father, and I really appreciate that. And Andrea is my little sister now, and I really love her much. And this year, what can I say? This year, I got married. I find true love. I met Brandusha last year, and I keep writing my book on my life. And I'm very happy that I managed to realize another dream, that to get married. Next slide. Yeah, another important thing is friendship. And as I said, after my sister was born, Doris, I get along with her friends, and from then on, they become my really, really good friends. We always went together since we were kids. We play in the sand together when we got 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and we go together to play football. And I said that how can I play football? I cannot play football with you guys because I'm in a wheelchair. But they always said to me that, okay, we manage somehow. We put you in to be the keeper, to be the goalkeeper, and we play somehow. So they never made a difference. When we got older, they took me to the disco. We went together to date girls. We went together all in the city. We went out. So it was really nice. And I can say that I'm very lucky because of that, because I have friends which we are friends already 30 years or have been passed, and we're still friends. Next slide. Here are some photos, and I choose the photo which I took it when we got married, because here in Romania we have a custom that when you get married you have to choose your spiritual parents. And together with Brandusha, we choose our friends, with luckily the wives of my friends, of my boyfriends, are also friends of Brandusha, and we choose that they to become our spiritual parents, because as you can see in the photo in left up, we were kids, but we still managed to remain friends, and it's very important for me. So I choose them to get to be my spiritual parents, and they say yes instantly. Also, you can see up there that the photo is from when I introduced my book. I had written a book at 30 years old about my life with having a disability, and I'm very proud because that was one of my dreams, to manage to write down how I lived my life having a disability. Also, there are some photos from Desna when we were kids playing in the pool. Okay, next slide. And now in this moment of my life, I can say that I'm very happy. I managed to get along with this disease, even if my disease means that I need help 24 hours per day. I managed to realize most of my dreams, and I'm very proud because of that. Although at the age of 14, I wanted to give up. I said that I will not go to high school. I managed to overcome that thing, and I'm very happy that I realized these dreams, to get married, to find true love, to have a very nice family which always supported me and always helped me to become stronger and stronger. I'm thankfully, and I'm happy to have lots of friends, and they are there for me. So I can say that even if I have a very bad disease, that didn't stop me to do whatever I wanted to do. Just I needed to adjust my dreams to the disability I have. And yeah, I have a road in front of me, and I hope I will do a lot of things in my life. And I still want to do a lot of things in my life. And I'm happy to have this life. I never been said that I have a disability, and I try to be very optimistic, positive thinking, and yes, I love my life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bobby, very, very much. What was your biggest challenge and how did you manage to overcome it?
Yes, my biggest challenge, I think it was beside accessibility. It was at the age of 14, like I said, when I decided to not go to high school, because at the age of 14, I realized that I will not get well, I will not run. And I said to myself that, okay, you still have your friends, but why do you need to go to high school? What will you realize? Even if you do your high school, you will not do anything. And I decided to stay home. And I think I managed to overcome this stuff because of my mom, who said to me, you're perfect. You have decided good, so you stay home. I stayed home, and luckily for me, in that period, the internet wasn't available. At the TV, it wasn't big stuff to watch, so I got started to get bored. And I said to my mom after 4 months, I think it was September or November it was, and I said to my mom that, well, I want to go to high school. And my mom said to me that you wanted to stay at home, it is your choice. Now you can go to high school because it's November, only next year. Until then, you try to figure out what do you want to do with your life. My mom was a little bit strong with me, but that really helped me to realize that from now on, I will never give up and I will not sit at home and do nothing. Whatever I will do it. And I think this was how I managed to overcome that thought that I don't want to go to high school. From that moment on, I never give up and I really started to do everything. Didn't think that it's impossible from that moment on. So yeah, I managed to overcome it because of my mom and of course because of me, because you need to think that you can do it.
Thank you, Bobby, very much.
Thank you.
As we could see from today's presentation, living with a disability is not easy and you have to overcome a multitude of challenges. What we can learn from this session is that we must be persistent, we must believe in ourselves and never give up on our dreams. In the end, I want to thank those who follow us for being here. And finally, I want to thank the speakers for choosing to tell us their stories from which each of us, we had something to learn. Thank you very much. And we don't forget that today is Romanians Day. La mulți ani România, la mulți ani români.
La mulți ani.
I wish you a nice weekend and happy holidays because Christmas is coming.